Hello everyone, this is Joel Marshall again, and we are here for LearnMyComputer.com. And today we're going to talk about folders. We've been talking about files and selecting files and dragging and dropping files. And today we're going to talk about folders. I have two folders on the screen right now. One says Joel's folder, the other says India Pictures. These folders could be named anything. I can change the name by just clicking and holding on the name of the folder and letting go, and it gives me the ability to change it. I would just start typing. I could call it Mary's folder, just like that, just by typing, and I hit the return key on my keyboard, and now it's called Mary's folder. I want to change it back to Joel's folder because I don't know who Mary is. So there we go, Joel's folder, India Pictures. I can select them just like I can select files, and I can draw a box around them to select them. I could hold down the command key and select both of them. I can select one by just clicking on it or clicking on the other one. Deselect by going off the folders to the desktop. So we've talked about that with files, so this should be pretty familiar to you with folders as well. Now, what are folders? A lot of you probably know, but most of you probably call them by the wrong names because we tend to call folders files sometimes, and that can be confusing when we're talking about them. So we want to make sure we call it by the right name. It's called a folder. I know that in your filing cabinet you probably have files that look like this as well. We call them files. But in the Mac world we call them folders because the other things are called files. So what a folder is a place to put your files, essentially. It's also a place to put your folders. You can put a folder inside of a folder, and you do this all the time in computers. So it's just a way to keep things neat, keep things accessible, and keep the clutter down to a minimum. We're going to open up Joel's folder here, and the way we do it is we put our cursor right above the folder image. Again, not on the name because that's only if we want to change the name. But we put it over the folder image, the picture of a folder, that blue one, and just double click. And it opens up and it shows us everything that's in that folder in what's called a Finder window. And the reason we call this a Finder window is because the program that we're looking at when we look at this window is called the Finder. And I'm sure you've seen this icon here down below on the dock. It's a kind of an old school Mac icon, little smiley face guy. Sometimes I call it the smiley face guy. He's got a funny kind of split face here. Maybe it's two guys, I'm not sure. But it's called the Finder. And the reason it's called the Finder is because that's where we find things. So when you double click on a folder, I'm going to go back and I'm going to close this by clicking on the red button in the upper left hand corner so I can go back to see the folder itself. When I double click on it, it opens up to this window that's called the Finder window, and the Finder is again the program that we use to navigate our folders and files. We're going to talk more about the Finder window later, but in this particular tutorial, I want to keep it really simple here, and I just want to show you how to open and close a folder. Double click to open, close by clicking on the upper left red dot. You just click on that once and it closes it. I can double click, and since we're here, I might as well tell you what the yellow dot does and the green dot does. So in a window, the yellow dot will minimize the window and put it way down here on your dock. And then if you want to open it and see it again, you go down to that little picture. It's a tiny, tiny picture of that Finder window, and you click on it, and it opens it back up. It doesn't really open it back up, it just brings it back to the front of the screen. So that's minimizing, the yellow one. Again, red is closing, yellow is minimizing, and green actually just changes the size of the window. Watch when I click on the green button. It changed it so it's went all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom of the screen. So that's, I like to call that the maximize button. If you want to make the window bigger, when I click on it again, it'll go back to where I had it, which is this size. And then to change the size of the Finder window, I want to go all the way down to the bottom right hand corner, and if I drag that bottom right hand corner, I can change the size all I want. And you'll see if I make it smaller, when I hit the green button, it gets larger again, but when I hit the green button again, it goes back to that same size that I left it. This is something that is really worth practicing, is working with these windows. We have Finder windows, we have windows in programs that we use all over the place in Macs. Just everywhere you're going to see this shape, this window shape. And in the Macintosh world, or the Apple world, there are certain conventions that are followed throughout the system. And if we get used to the logic of these conventions, we will become much better at utilizing things the minute we see them. We might even open up a new program that we've never seen before, and we'll be able to do certain things because we already know the language. And one of the parts of that language is this three-dot system that I showed you: the close button, the minimize button, and the maximize button. And also in the lower right hand corner, if you put your cursor over that lower right hand corner of any window, generally, it will turn into this arrow that shows you can move it up, down, diagonally to change the size of the window. If you put your cursor to any corner on the Finder window, you can change the size. That's pretty neat. And the next time you open a Finder window, that size will be this size, whatever you left it. So like if I make it super small, and I close the Finder window, when I open that again by double-clicking on the folder, it's going to make it super small. And you might find this sometimes, that you open up a program and it's just tiny. You're like, why is it so tiny? What do I do about that? Well, just put your cursor in the lower right-hand corner, or upper right, or one of the corners, till you see an arrow like that, and just make it bigger. And once you get it the size that you want, then you can close it, and when you open it again, it's going to be that size that you like it. Okay? That's all we're going to do today. Just close and open folders. See the files that are in the folder. These are files that are inside of that folder. We're going to talk a little bit more about that next time. So that is a folder, a Finder window, and a few basics about that window itself. I'm Joel Marshall, and please, if you have any questions or suggestions, just email me at joel@learnmycomputer.com, and please go to learnmycomputer.com and send your friends there to sign up for these weekly short tutorials. I'd love to hear some more feedback, just telling me how I can better teach you how to use your computer. And again, it's at learnmycomputer.com. I'm Joel Marshall. My email address is joel@learnmycomputer.com. See you next week.